Okay, so dear students, we are at present we are discussing AVR on chip peripherals and its programming. So in previous lecture we discussed about the external interrupts. We have seen that what is interrupts, why it is necessary, how your program sequence will change, at which location the program will jump whenever interrupt will come. We have also seen C programming for external interrupts, and at the end of the lecture I told you that you write assembly language program for the external interrupts. I am sure that you must have written it somewhere in your notebook. I will discuss it now so that you can rectify if you have done any mistakes in that. So let us start with assembly language programming for external interrupts. So the title which was given to you during the last lecture was to write assembly language program to sound buzzer alarm whenever external interrupt 1 occurs, assuming that the buzzer is connected to PD0 pin. So this is how you can write the assembly language program. Let me explain it here. So .org is the directive which says that your program is starting from location 0. This is the memory location 0 from where your program is starting. Initially you will jump to the main program because our initial locations are for interrupts. So initially we will not like to start our program directly from here, but we will jump to the main label. And as you can see here, this is a main label. So actually your program is starting here. So this is what we can say, it is your main program. And very simple thing is written here. This is your ISR, interrupt service routine. So R jump main, so your program will jump to the main. SBI DDRD, 0. Now I think all of you are very much clear that this instruction, purpose of this instruction is to make PD0 pin output pin. Let me connect digitizer so that I can write something here. Okay, so this instruction is, this will define PD0 as output pin, right? Because we have connected buzzer there and we want to make this buzzer on whenever interrupt is generated. That's why we are defining the direction of PD0 pin. Then these are the instructions which will define the stack pointer. Stack pointer is defined by these instructions. Why stack pointer definition is required? Because I told you in the last lecture that whenever interrupt occurs, the program counter value will be saved into the stack memory. So you have to define the stack pointer. Stack pointer will point to the stack memory. And we have defined SPL as we have transferred 5F to SPL, that is stack pointer lower byte, SPH, that is stack pointer higher byte. As you can see here that we are transferring 0x08. So 0x08 is transferred to higher byte and 5F to lower byte. That means stack pointer address becomes 0x08 5F. So at this memory location, your program counter will be saved. Right. So whenever interrupt will be executed, your program counter will be saved at this particular stack pointer location. Right. So that's why we require to define here a stack pointer. Then after that SEI, which we last time discussed, that it will enable the interrupt flag in status register. So your I will become 1 in status register. And this is 80. Only one interrupt we are using, interrupt 1. So interrupt 1 corresponding to that binary sequence would be 1 0 0 0 and 0 0 0 0. You have to transfer to GICR, which is a special function register for external interrupts. And if you remember, the GICR is having a bits like this: interrupt 1, interrupt 0, interrupt 2, and there are some more bits are there. But we want to enable the interrupt 1, so we have written 1 at that particular bit position. So after doing this, our external interrupt 1 will be enabled. Okay, so our main program is over. So now we are just waiting for the interrupt in this infinite loop. R jump here is the infinite loop. If you remember, during last lecture in a C programming, we were writing while 1, which is an infinite loop in a C program. While in assembly language program, it is R jump here, that is also infinite loop. That means we are just waiting for the interrupt. So whenever interrupt will occur, interrupt 1 will occur, what will happen? Your program will jump to this location. 0x0004 is the vector location for interrupt 1. Then it will again jump to the alarm routine. Right. So now let's look at what is written there in a alarm routine. Okay. In alarm routine, very simple. One instruction is written. SBI port D, 0. That means it will set your PD0 pin. So because of that, your buzzer will become on. Okay. And then after just doing this, we will return back to the main program. So this was, the solution of the exercise which was given to you during the last lecture. Now let us modify this program slightly and see on using AVR Studio and Proteus simulation software. Let me check that. Okay. So this is our program for the external interrupt, where the first instruction is .org 0x00, and then we have taken a jump to the location or a label start. In PowerPoint slide it was written main. I have written here start. You can use any label of your choice, right? But ultimately this will jump to the main program. And these are the few instructions written for a interrupt service routine. Then in a start, initially we are defining the stack pointer. Why we define stack pointer? As I given you already the purpose that whenever the interrupt occurs, we have to store program counter at stack memory. And the stack memory will be pointed by the stack pointer, and that's why it is very important. Then these two instructions will define your interrupt as a negative edge triggered interrupt. So it will provide you negative edge triggered interrupt. So that interrupt will be generated on the negative edge on the external pins. So MCUCR is the register for that purpose, where we are transferring the content 0x02. Right. Then SBI DDRC, 3, that means port C pin number 3 is declared as an output pin. Then we want to connect two push button switches to generate the interrupt at PD2 and PD3 pin but we don't want to connect the pull-up register there. So intentionally I have activated the internal pull-up register by giving this instruction SBI port D, 2, SBI port D, 3. Whenever we will give these two instructions, internal pull-up registers will be activated. Then LDI R16, 0x E0. E0 means all of you know that 1 1 1 0 and 0 0 0 0. So this one is corresponding to interrupt 1, this one is corresponding to interrupt 0, this is corresponding to interrupt 2. So all three external interrupts we have enabled by this instruction. And then we are transferring this content of R16 to GICR, which is a register for external interrupts. After this, we do the set interrupt flag, SEI. So it will enable the interrupt flag in status register, right? So this is our main program. Now let us look at interrupt program. See, after main program, this is again infinite loop, R jump here, here. In a C language, normally we write it with help of a this type of a statement while 1. In assembly language, we write it R jump here, here. So our program is now waiting for interrupts. You know, it is in infinite loop and it is just waiting for the interrupts. Whenever interrupt 1 will come, what will happen? Your program will, interrupt 0 will come, your program will jump to location 0x02, where we have written one instruction, R jump device on. So device on, in that what we have written, SBI port C, 3. So what it will do, it will set PC3 pin, and just after setting the PC3 pin, it will return to the main program, right? What will happen when interrupt 1 will come? Interrupt 1 will come, then your program will jump to the location 0x04, because 0x04 is the vector location for external interrupt 1, right? So whenever external interrupt 1 will occur, it will go to this location 0x04. So that's why we have written directive here .org 0x04. So at location 0x04 we have written R jump device off. So your program will jump to device off, and in a device off we have written instruction CBI port C, 3. So essentially what it will do, it will clear PC3 pin. Okay. So now let us look at the execution of this program. So first of all, let me build this solution to see, okay, build 1 succeeded, up to date. So there are no errors. Program has created the X file. And now let us go to Proteus software. I will slightly zoom this so that it's visible to all of you. In a Proteus software, as you can see here that I have connected on PC3, I have connected one relay through transistor driver circuit. So PC3 is connected to one register, register is connected to base of the transistor, collector of transistor is connected to the relay coil, and the other end of that relay coil is connected to the VCC power supply. So whenever this pin will set, what will happen? The transistor will conduct. So here we are using transistor as a switch. Transistor will conduct, the current will flow through the coil, and the relay will be energized. When relay will be energized, the device connected with that relay will also turn on. Whenever there is a logic 0 here, there is no base current, transistor will turn off because it is a switch and there are no base current, so no collector current, it will be off. Relay will not energize and device will remain off. Now let us check whether our program is properly defined here or not. So let me check here. First of all, I will check that whether our program hex file, yes, external interrupts hex file is already there. It is recent hex file already specified there. Let's run this program. Let's simulate this program. So after the simulation of the program, you can see that this is a switch corresponding to interrupt 0 and this is switch corresponding to interrupt 1. because this push button switch is connected to PD2 pin, that is interrupt 0 pin. This switch is connected to PD3 pin, that is interrupt 1 pin. If I press this, what will happen? Interrupt 0 will be generated and device will turn on. As you can see that this is red, means device has turned on. The relay will energize, relay contact is switched from this point to this point. Okay, and suppose if I do like this, the relay is changing here. Device is making off because here this is active low signal, transistor is off, no current is flowing, so relay is off, lamp is also off. If I press this interrupt 0, lamp will turn on, as it is clearly visible here. This is off, this is on, this is off, this is on. So while pressing this switch, interrupt 0 is generated. While pressing this switch, interrupt 1 is generated. This is interrupt 0, this is interrupt 1. So like this, you will be able to control the different devices with help of whenever the external interrupt is generated. Here instead of lamp, you can connect any AC electrical appliances. Instead of relay, you can also use some solid state devices like thyristors to control the electrical appliances. So this is how you can use interrupts for a real life situation. You can also, instead of pressing the switch here, you can also use kind of a sensors like ultrasonic distance sensor or a ping sensor, which will generate interrupt for you. You can also use proximity switch. So whenever some object is near to proximity switch, the switch will provide you the interrupt. I think the battery is low, so I will connect the charger first. Okay. So let me go back to our PowerPoint presentation. I will stop this simulation here. Okay. So this is okay. One more exercise for you, that you have to modify this program in such a way that here you can see whenever interrupt 0 is generated, we are turning on the device. Whenever interrupt 1 is generated, we are turning off the device. Now you have to modify this program in such a way that whenever interrupt 0 is generated first time, the device should turn on, and whenever it is generated again, interrupt 0 is generated again, the device should turn off. That means device should toggle. If you remember, in the last lecture in a C programming, we have written that program. So similar program you have to write for a assembly language. That is exercise for you. Let's go back to this PowerPoint slide. So this is how you can write a assembly language program. Okay, one more assembly language program. Write assembly language program for the following events on external interrupt. So what you have to do, you have to complement the content of R20 whenever external interrupt 0 is generated, and you have to display its complemented content on port C. Then complement the content of R21 and display it on port C if external interrupt 1 is generated. Complement content of R22 and display it on port C if external interrupt 2 is generated. So you have to write program in which you have to use all three interrupts. So you have to write a main program where you will initialize the interrupts, and then you have to write 3 interrupt service routine for 3 different external interrupts. Take paper and pencil or a pen and try to write the program. I am giving you some time. After some time I will show you the program. So please try so that you can rectify the errors, whatever you are making. I hope you must have written it something by now. I will show you a similar program in HTML Studio. I hope you must have written it something by now. I will show you. Let me open that file. Okay, so I have written the same program here and will explain you, and you can rectify the errors. All of you have to start from org0x000 and then you have to jump to the main program. So whenever there are interrupts we are using, you have to jump initially to the main program, because your interrupt vector locations are in between. So from location 0 to onwards, all the locations are interrupt locations where you cannot write your main program. So always you have to skip to the main program initially. So your first instruction for interrupt programs will be always .org 0 and then rjump main. You can either use main or start or whatever label you like. Okay, in main what we have done, we have defined the stack pointer, and now I think purpose of stack pointer must be very much clear to you, right? We are going to display the content of registers on a port C, so we are declaring this port C as an output port here. Then SEI is it will enable the interrupt flag. So it will enable the interrupt flag in a status register, and these two instructions will enable all three external interrupts, because as you know, now you are familiar that in a GICR you have to set bit corresponding to all external interrupts. Yeah, so it will enable all external interrupts. Sorry, so because it is a 1110 sorry, not 11 but all 0. Okay, so this one is corresponding to interrupt 1, interrupt 0 and interrupt 2. So all three interrupts are enabled by this instruction, these two instructions. Then we are loading some values to R20, R21, R22, so that you can complement it and then you can display it on the port C. And then after, just we are waiting in an infinite loop, we just wait for an interrupt. Whenever interrupt 0 occurs, your program will jump to the location 02, where we are again jumping to the location external interrupt 0. So here we have specified some label here. You can define any label here. You can write, you can say that device 1 or device 2, device 3, that kind of a label, alarm 1, alarm 2, alarm 3, any label you can use. So some label I have used here, external interrupt 0. And external interrupt 0 label, what I have done, complemented the content of register R20. So by this instruction, I am complementing the content of register R20, and then I am transferring R20 to the port C, right? So whenever external interrupt 0 generated, I am complementing the content of R20 and transferring to the port C. Whenever external interrupt 1 occurs, I am complementing the content of R21 and transferring to the port C. Whenever external interrupt 2 occurs, I am complementing the content of R22 and transferring it to port C. And that was actually our aim in the exercise. Now I am sure that there should not be any doubt in your mind regarding this exercise. Okay. The same program is written here in the PPT, so I will just skip it. Okay, so this is one more exercise for all of you. Write a program to flash LEDs connected at port D at interval of 1 second. I have to change this port because port D is also having a PD2 and PD3 pin as an input pin. So let me change this. instead of port D, let me use port B here. Okay, use port B. Okay, write program to flash LEDs connected at port B at the interval of 1 second. Switch is connected to external interrupt 0 pin. Right. So let me use one pointer to explain this. Okay. So you have to connect one switch at external interrupt 0 pin, that is PD2 pin. And that's why I have changed this port B. If you use port D here, then you may not be able to use the interrupts, right? So intentionally we are connecting LEDs to port B. Then switch is connected to PD2 internal interrupt 0 pin. The requirement is that whenever we press the switch, LEDs should glow one by one. See, initially LEDs were flashing, all LED off, all LED on, all LED off, all LED on, right? It was flashing kind of thing. But whenever somebody presses the interrupt 0 pin or a switch connected to interrupt 0 pin, that means if it gives the interrupt to the microcontroller, then LED should glow sequentially, one by one, sequentially, right? So try to write assembly language and C language program for this exercise. If you have any doubt in that programs, we will discuss during the next lecture. Another exercise for you is that you write a program for up counter whenever interrupt 0 occurs, down counter whenever interrupt 1 occurs, and consider that the 7 segment display is connected to port C. We have already discussed the similar program during the last lecture, but that program was using C language. I have demonstrated C language program for the same task. If you forgot, you can refer earlier YouTube lecture in which I have explained this entire program. So the same program you have to write in an assembly language, right? So keep this both the exercise ready with you. I will ask to any students to explain your own exercise, and then later on I will show you the programs so that you can correct it if you have done any errors. Thank you very much for attending the meeting. Goodbye. See you.